Welcome to Of Sound Mind and Spirit. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Lisa. We're sisters walking together on a journey of faith. We're not perfect.
And we definitely don't have all the answers. We're inviting you to walk with us as we explore ways we can better know and grow in our faith together. Welcome back to Of Sound Mind and Spirit. I'm Shelley.
And I'm Lisa. We are so glad you're with us today. If you're in a season where life feels unfamiliar, you're not alone and you're not lost. Today, we're talking about seasons of transitions.
Yep. And Lisa, today's topic feels especially close to home because, as you know, I moved about a month and a half ago, and it's been a pretty big transition for us.
Yes, as anyone watching us on YouTube or Spotify video, they can see your boxes there behind you still. Yeah.
Thanks.
I've had a pretty big transition recently, and that is I've got these new neighbors across the street who, gosh darn it, just keep showing up at my house for random unknown reasons. Do you know who they are, Shelley?
I don't think me walking across the street to say hi to you and come in when you invite me for, a glass of wine on your back patio because you have the view and I don't. Yes. I don't think that's a problem.
Yes, dear listener, Shelley moved directly across the street from me. So that's pretty big news. But seriously, we're talking today about a lot of us experience different seasons and transitions, whether it's a move like Shelley or like I did a year and a half ago, or a change in family life. Maybe your kids are growing up. Maybe you're taking care of your elderly parents, maybe a different job, or simply even just a shift in your normal routine.
Yeah. And, I'll tell you from someone who just moved, it's kind of like, you lose the rhythm that you once had. And I hate to say this, but I keep having this question creeping in my brain. And that's, am I ever going to be comfortable in this new situation again?
That was like, who am I now?
Mm-hmm.
As you're into this new season and things question, I know that feeling.
Exactly. And that's what we're talking about today. These seasons of transition, these in-between spaces, where life looks different, feels different, and yes, even feels a little uncertain.
But also during these transition seasons, something deeper might be happening. God is working, even if we can't always see it.
Yep. So listener, if you are also in a season where things in your life feel like they've shifted, maybe even been uprooted, we hope our conversation today kind of feels like an opportunity to just rest for a moment.
A place to breathe, to reflect, and maybe start seeing your transition or season in a new light.
Yep. So Lisa, let's dive into the episode.
I think we should start, Shelley, with let's talk about how it feels, these transitions. So when, and I want to start out with transitions don't always have to be a bad thing, like something happens to you. Many of these transitions we plan, like a new job or moving or, your kids, like for me, I knew my kids were going to go off to college and I was a mostly empty nester. So it's not always a bad thing. It's just that sometimes you don't expect how you're going to feel in it. So,
Right.
It's happening, but you, like you said, lose your structure or rhythm.
Right. That's what I was going to say is that, whether you planned it or not, and like the move, what kind of came up suddenly for us, it was a different conversation for another time, but it did feel very quick. And while we feel very at peace in the new home and that it was the right thing, a God-led thing for us to do, I still feel like I've lost my rhythm. The structure of my routine is off. And to be honest, I keep wondering, when am I ever going to feel like myself again? Am I going to be able to get it back? And, to find that structure and the new structure. And it's driving me crazy. You know this.
Yeah. And I can remember, let's say when I stopped working as an attorney many, many years ago, it was very different for me. And I did walk around wondering who I was because it was such a change of identity, not working full time as a lawyer anymore. And I've told the joke many times that I used to go to playgroup with my daughter and introduce myself as a lawyer, which the other moms in my playgroup thought I was very strange. But it was such a change for me. I felt I was clinging on to the old and it was difficult to embrace the new. I recognize that it's just a movement from one place to another. And this is that in-between space. And it's okay to feel unsettled. I think it's natural to feel unsettled.
I keep saying that when I get the boxes unpacked, when I get everything set up just the way I want it, then I will get back into my normal routine. Then I will get up early in the morning and read my Magnificat or do my morning prayers. And I mean, it just still feels so strange. Like my shoes are on the wrong feet. Not necessarily the house, but the routine, the rhythm of it.
I definitely know how you feel. You and I have talked about when I moved, how long it took me to find a new comfortable spot to put my books and have my morning reading time. And honestly, I'm still kind of shifting. I mean, it's been a year and a half. I'm still kind of shifting and finding a new spot. You've got to remember, it took you a long time to find your routine originally. And so it'll take you time to find it again. And that's okay. It's okay to be unsettled. I know nobody, well, maybe dear listener, maybe you want to be unsettled. Maybe somebody was like, I like being the change and starting over.
And maybe some of you are feeling like a lot of us felt when something happens, which is, did I go wrong somewhere? Did something happen to me? Or who am I now? What's going on? Because I don't know. I mean, I said yes to the move and I didn't expect to feel quite so much like I do, if that makes sense. So
one of the things we can gift ourselves, I think, is just to acknowledge that it's okay to not have it all figured out right away.
Wait a minute. I'm under a lot of pressure here to get these boxes unpacked and we downsized. So to figure out how to put 4 bedrooms into 3 and my office there had a closet and my office here does not. And that's why you've got boxes. And what do I do with these boxes? I am under a lot of pressure to figure this out like right now. So what is it you keep telling me every day when I call you?
Calm down.
Take a breath.
Yes.
It's okay.
Do you want to come sit on my balcony and look at the birds?
Yes. It's okay not to have it all figured out.
It is. It is okay.
You keep telling me just one day at a time. Mm-hmm. My husband keeps saying, I challenge you that you can't just unpack 2 boxes. And I'm like, well, I can unpack the boxes. I don't know where the things are going.
But I'm going to bring up that even God rested, right? On the 7th day. Mm-hmm. God rested and said, it is good. So,
and God didn't need to rest.
No, he didn't. But
God rested so that we could imitate God and do something like him. Mm-hmm. And that's a big thing to remember.
Yes. And it is important to do what you need to do. But at the same time, I always like to say, be gentle to yourself and acknowledge that you do need to take that breath and rest in between. And, it's not being lazy to not get all the things done right away. Sometimes you just have to be intentional and live, how do I say this? Like, don't let all of the busyness take over how you are needing to live your life. So don't push off the things that are good right in front of you that you need to be aware and present to do all the busy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes this routine changing is part of what God's trying to bring you through. Mm-hmm. And I keep telling myself that I woke up one day last week and I realized I haven't sat and done XYZ that I usually sit and do in the mornings. I haven't done that since we moved. And it feels off. But I found the journal that I usually use in the mornings, and I hadn't written in it since December.
Ooh.
And we're in March. And so I thought, okay, well, now that I found it, I'll watch for an opportunity to either add it back into my morning routine, or maybe there's another opportunity to do it differently. You know, and I've got to be open to it.
Right.
And as you and my husband keep saying, you know, it's not going to be exactly like this. It's going to settle down. And then I'll wake up and realize, okay, maybe this is my new routine, or I'll shift back into something. I'll be able to kind of shift it slowly back into something else. So, but I like what you said about Jesus withdrawing into a quiet place. He did that often, didn't he? Even through all of his work, he still stepped back with and or without his apostles and said, you know, it's good to come away and rest for a while.
Matthew 11:28 says, "Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest." And we actually, through the Bible, through saints, we see a lot of recurring themes about resting and resting in God.
And St. Francis de Sales, I found that one. Have patience with all things, but first of all with yourself. So, dear listener, if you are going through this unsettled change, whether it's a move or just a change in your routine from whatever life is throwing at you right now, take heart in that one. St. Francis de Sales, have patience with all things, but first of all with yourself. I forget where it was when we were kids, Lisa, but I used to say, I'm so glad mom and dad didn't name me Patience because I have none.
That's funny.
One of the things you and I mentioned before we started here is what's happening with this season. Because we were talking about how we're recording right now in the early spring, and everything's kind of coming to life again. And I was telling you that when we moved, the house I had before, we had this beautiful JP2 rose from Jackson Perkins, and it had not done very well in the beginning, but now that we've left that house, it's thriving. I went by the other day, and there's like 8 blooms on the bush, and it was so beautiful. And my husband, when we knew we were moving, he bought 2 new bare root roses, and he had them shipped. And long story short, they got stuck in the post office for almost 2 weeks. And so when they arrived, we didn't think they were going to be alive. We didn't think they'd survive at all. But we soaked them and we put them in the ground. And one popped right back up. Like it sprouted and it came to life. But the other one didn't. And we didn't know what we were doing wrong with it. And I got to thinking, it died. But, it didn't adapt to the change. It didn't make the transition. And then one day, I found this tiny little new growth. And then I realized there was all this stuff going on beneath the surface, I guess, that now it's come to life. So the long and the short of what I'm trying to say is, in the winter, all our plants look like they're dead. They go dormant. They look like nothing's happening. But really, there's a lot happening beneath the ground. The roots are deepening. They're maybe storing up energy so that they can burst forth in the spring. And our life in a time of transition is kind of like that too. We just kind of have to trust in it.
That's really nice. I like that. With my transition to empty nesting and moving and all of that over the last couple of years, I had all these ideas and plans for what it was going to look like. And I was so excited. I know I've talked about that on the podcast. And then I've hit a place where I guess I'm still in transition. I'm usually a busy person, and I'm not right now. And most of that is my own doing. I have stopped saying yes to things, and I've started saying no to things, and it's been hard. And I've talked about how I feel like I'm in this, you call it my be still and know era. And I do sometimes think, am I supposed to be dormant, or am I supposed to be doing? And so I like what you said about winter to spring and deepening and growing and conserving energy for what God is working on you for next. And that reflects a lot of what I see in my prayer journals about being content with this quiet in my life right now from my transition time, because I feel like that's what God's calling me to do in order to whatever he has planned for me. And I don't know, but that I am where I am supposed to be. And I'm supposed to be, like you said, kind of storing up energy and deepening those roots. So that really is beautiful, that we're just reminded that God is always working in us, even when we feel adrift or lost or unsettled or, in a time of great change in our lives, that he is doing that.
I like that. I know I've said this one before too. Sorry to be repetitive, but I keep saying that if God is leading you into something, he's going to lead you through it because he has plans for you. It's that old Jeremiah 29:11, for God knows the plans he has for you, plans for you to prosper. I didn't write this one out before. Sorry. It just came to my head. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans for your good. So the one I had prepped was actually Isaiah 43:19. And I love this one. It's just so exciting. See, I am doing something new. And the Bible puts the exclamation point on it. Now it springs forth. Do you not perceive it? In the wilderness, I make a way. In the wasteland, rivers. And just that imagery that it brings up to me, combined with what we were talking about, is just fantastic.
All right. So as you come through this transition, or as you're transitioning, there are a lot of things that you need to change, that are changing. Sometimes change is happening to you, and sometimes it's that you are promulgating the change, right? You're making it happen. And so one of the things you and I have talked a lot about is, like you mentioned, not sitting and doing your morning prayer time and your journaling. And that is something that has always been something that roots you and starts your day and like a foundation. We always talk about prayer, needing to have that prayer time as a foundation of your faith and doing it every day, finding those new routines, setting those new routines, and acknowledging that sometimes it doesn't just naturally happen, that you just keep picking, like you and I were talking the other day, like picking new places in your house to find a place to sit and open the scripture every morning. And then the next day going like, no, I need to find a new place. And not even realizing what it is you're searching for to make that routine work. Yeah. Like I led you the other day, like, why did it work in your old house? Like, what was it about that spot? And
I told you, it was sitting in that window with the sun coming up in the morning, and my house doesn't face the same direction now. So I don't really have that spot. I'm still working on it. And like I told you, I haven't been writing because I didn't have the office set up. Well, I'm in a desk today, so it's not what I had planned, but it's what I had available. Eventually it will be what I envisioned, but that's not today. So I have to acknowledge, Lisa, and I think our listeners do too, that the old routines don't always come back. And dear listeners, I think you've got to just be open, as Lisa said, to explore what God might be inviting you into. Be gentle with yourself as the new rhythms kind of come about. And that's what I've been trying to do. Seek what's good. I've been trying to be open to what a blessing certain things are that are different and what I miss. And, I can think of many different other changes in my life where big shifts like that have happened. And so I know there are those of you going through the same things, where something has changed. So, Lisa, we wanted to kind of continue down your idea of some practical things we can do.
I do like practical things.
Yeah.
That is part of my thing. So we talked about morning quiet time, and that's been important to me, and it's changed. For me, I've sat on my balcony and listening to the birds, and that has been a huge transition of mine, instead of just sitting in my kitchen. And also new creative outlets and new communities. Or I would say also for me, saying no to things. You don't always have to fill a routine that is missing.
True.
Maybe you were, and this is me talking, maybe doing too much, maybe too busy. And maybe this change, this transition, God is calling you to be more still or say no to some of these things so that you can look inward, reflect on what it is you want to do in the future, what He is calling you to do, what is most important. Maybe, like for me, in my case, I really feel like God is calling me to be present for my family more rather than be out externally doing all of the volunteer work and things like that I used to do. So the practical ideas are to spend some time in prayer and maybe change up some things.
And I'll add to that. I like what you said about community. And for me, I need to stay in contact with my community and or reconnect with them or find a new one. And thankfully, we're not so far away that I've had to leave my small group or I can't revisit with friends when I feel the urge to or work on committees that I've been part of. I'm not walking away from that. It's different and the rhythm of going is different, but I have reconnected with them and not left. So that's kind of a balm to my spirit. So, and I can stop at my favorite coffee shop on the way to or from.
Well, and one of the things is, just adding into my routine, maybe meeting my dad out at a park to go look at birds in the middle of the day. It's having the opportunity to do things that you didn't used to do. Just being grateful that I can have the opportunity to try on different things and try on different routines. And some I enjoy and some I don't enjoy.
Well, dear listener, if you're going through a change, I want to invite you to consider it like this. You're not starting over. You are growing forward. I hope it understands and makes sense to you, because that's one of the things that phrase I've really enjoyed thinking about, that my change is not starting over. My change is that I'm growing into something God is calling me to. And then when my mind starts to wander and wonder, which I'm expecting yours does too, I found this beautiful psalm, and it's, I will instruct you and show you the way you should walk, give you counsel with my eye upon you. And it's from Psalms 32, verse 8. And I just love the idea of pausing and looking around and saying, okay, God, I know you're here with me in this moment. I trust that you are going to show me the path and that you are going to give me whatever I need to do your will here. So I invite you to kind of put that into your mind and your heart whenever you're working through a big change in your life.
That's really great. I like that. And that is what we need to do, right? Mm-hmm. I think we always need that reminder to trust in the Lord and surrender that control. Mm-hmm. I know I need that reminder all the time for it.
Right. Yeah. Because God is with you, even in your uncertainty. I mean, he's here. Mm-hmm. When I left my job, when I changed jobs, when you have kids, when your kids move out to college, there's all that uncertainty. There's all that uncomfortableness. Mm-hmm. And yet, if you center your mind and your heart on God, you know that he's with you and you can fully trust in him and that he is going to be present no matter what good or what uncomfortableness comes. And so you just have to trust in the Lord with all your heart.
And I'll add, though, that it is a constant reminder. I need the constant reminder. Because some weeks I'm rocking it. Like it's great. And then let's just say spring break just happened. So my routine was very interrupted because people came home. And then I was floundering again. You know, why do I feel so unsettled? What just happened to me? And then I was like, oh yeah, I need to turn back to my routine. I need to turn back to God and place him at the center of what I was doing and not be distracted by all the chaos and the noise that's back home again.
And maybe next time I should invite you to come over here for a coffee or something.
That's true. Who am I kidding? She slept until noon every day.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, where are you going with that? You were the one texting me. She's still asleep. We were supposed to go to this thing I had planned.
But that's the point. It changes my thought process. Interrupts my routine because she didn't wake up. Anyway.
She needed the sleep. She was home. She could rest.
She did. And we did just lay on the couch that day and watch movies together. So that was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is something that I'm learning. And I think we all learn and need to learn no matter where we are. It's just the constant turning back to God whenever things get unsettled, whenever we feel things are difficult, when things are changing. Just remember to have that turn back to him and try to find that peace and the trust and surrender.
Okay, listeners, we want to ask you some questions. So let's go into just kind of a quiet moment for a second here. And you can take a few moments and you can put this into prayer or you can journal. But where in your life are you experiencing transition right now? What feels unfamiliar or uncertain? Can you identify any quiet growth that might be happening beneath the surface? Or maybe, how is God inviting you to rest, trust, or begin something new? Just gently reflect on what God is doing with you right now in this particular season of your life.
And if you're like us, we love to journal. So we invite you to journal those questions. We'll put them in the show notes. Or if you're not a writer, you can simply take them to prayer. So as we come to the end of this, I keep coming back to the idea that transitions aren't necessarily wrong. It doesn't mean something is going wrong in your life or it's a bad thing. It's just a sign of change and that a reminder that it's also possibly a new beginning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if this topic that we're talking about is something that you're walking through right now, I hope you'll give yourself the permission to rest, to not feel like you need to have all the answers right now, and to trust that something good is taking root beneath the surface. Mm-hmm. Because transition is not the end. It's often a transformation. And just like my roses, you might feel like it's winter right now, but spring is being prepared for you.
I love that. And maybe take time to ask God to show you what good gift he is sending you. And we can pray, Lord, show me how you're blessing me in this time of transition. I want to invite you, dear listener. We're so glad that you're here with us. And our next episode is episode 100. This is episode 99. Ooh. I know. So episode 100, we have planned and we have big things coming, which is one of the reasons for our long break. We took this time of transition and period that we were just in to really assess and make some changes. So come back for episode 100 because we do have some great things to announce and share with you. And we think that you'll love it. And in the meantime, as we're planning our new topics and our new podcast episodes, we would love to hear from you what topics you'd like us to explore, what resonates with you, what have we covered that you want us to revisit, or maybe what have we not covered? Actually, we would just love to hear from you. one of the reasons that we started the podcast and that keeps us coming back and doing this for 99 episodes is that we want to encourage, support each other, one another, not just Shelly and I, each other, but with you. And we want to create that community of women who uplift and support one another. So we would love to get to know you as a person. Would you email us? Our email is soundmindandspirit@gmail.com. So email us. We will respond, and we would love to get to know you as a listener and as a person. So just a reminder, don't miss episode 100. It should be out very soon.
That's right. All right. Dear listeners, we appreciate you being here with us, walking with us on this journey of faith. And we'll see you next time.
Bye.